Get in, lads. Welcome back to the Get in Football podcast. My name is Elijah, and I'm here today reacting to Jamaica's new squad. The first squad, actually, under Steve McClaren for the upcoming Concacaf Nations League. Steve's first squad was released this morning, so it's my first time actually looking at the squad itself. I know I'm going to have a few thoughts on it. I'm actually really excited to see who Steve picked for these games. So yeah, before I get into it though, if you guys want more Jamaican-centered content, make sure you subscribe down below to the Get in Football podcast. Or if you want more content surrounding CONCACAF, UEFA, even AFC, Premier League, I don't know, a whole lot of football stuff, everything around the world. Make sure you subscribe down below and leave your comments down below. I want to hear what you guys are thinking about Steve McClaren's first team as Jamaican head coach. So I have the squad here. I'm going to read off from goalkeepers to forwards for those that don't know just yet, and to give myself a little bit more information. Here we go. Starting with goalkeepers, we got Andre Blake, Kanaya Boyce Clark, and Jamali Waite. Typical three they've been calling up. No big deal about that. Defenders, Dexter Limbakisa, Deshaun Bernard, Greg Lay, Damian Lowe, Michael Hector, Richard King, Amari Bell, Joel Lottie, Ethan Pinnock. Again, not a whole lot different, pretty similar to what they've been calling him recently. In midfield, we got Casey Palmer, Karoy Anderson, Bobby Reed, John Russell, Adrian Reed Jr. A couple differences there, but the same main core, probably the same players that are going to start no matter what. They're probably Bobby Reed at least, and Casey Palmer maybe. Forwards, Shamar Nicholson, Norman Campbell, Michael Antonio, Damari Gray, Kaheem Dixon, and Leon Bailey. Leon Bailey is the last name on that list in the forwards. Okay, interesting. I'm very interested if he's actually going to come back. Anyways, that was the team that they've announced. I do have a couple thoughts on it. Starting off with, it's not a whole lot different. That's okay. I mean, Jamaica doesn't have the strongest or the biggest core of players that you can call upon, similar to how maybe England does, or Germany, or even USA or whatnot. There is a pretty set core as to who they're going to call up every time, and I see Steve has stuck to that, which is okay. I don't mind that. It's a solid core, like I said. They're experienced together, not a lot of whole new names. That's okay. There's not a lot of names to call upon, except for doing nationals, which actually does bring me to my first point, concerning two players, actually. Number one, no Mason Greenwood. Quite interesting. I know it has been heavily talked about over the past week, where Greenwood is apparently, filing out the papers to make the switch to Jamaica from England. Heavily talked about. If you guys want a video on that, leave a like down below. But Mason Greenwood is not here. I kind of thought maybe this would be his first break, or first window with the Reggae Boyz. Not in here. Interesting. Another player that is not in here that I would have been interested in seeing again is Omari Hutchinson. Nobody knows what's going on with Omari. Let's be honest here. He hasn't been included in the team for some time, even though he's had ample opportunity, including like the Copa America and even these Nations League games. Definitely good opportunities just to get him some international, games under his belt. Not called up here. I don't know if that's Jamaica's call or if that's Omari's call. I'm kind of willing to bet it's Omari's call, and I think he really, really wants the England one. So he doesn't want to be cap tied. He wants to be able to switch, which I mean, I get it. If you think you can play for England, then cool. Personally, I would rather play for Jamaica, but I think that's where Omari Hutchinson is going to head, and I don't like the back and forth here amongst, the federation and him and England. I guess I do prefer him to just be a Reggae Boyz player, but not up to me. I don't know anything more about that. If you guys know more about that, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know more. But we'll see. I do want him to be a future Reggae Boyz player, and he could be a really key part of the attack going forward, especially in a time when Jamaica could be, trying to win this Nations League at least the Gold Cup, or whatnot. So sorry if you guys hear any background noise. My girlfriend's cat is in the litter box right now, so she's making hella noise. But back to what I said earlier, Leon Bailey is mentioned in this call-up, which I do like a lot. Very interested to see if he actually shows up or not, but he has to, right? I mean, there's no way that Jamaica would waste a spot on him again if he wasn't going to show up. I think he's going to be here. I don't know if this is just a way to almost force him back into the squad. It could be. It very well could be. We don't really know how the JFF runs, and this would go along with how the JFF has been running recently. So Leon Bailey here being included is interesting. I wonder if there's going to be another Instagram post or story from him saying that it's all false or whatnot, just like Copa America when he was included, even though he didn't show up. I'm not quite sure. But I would love for him to be here. Leon Bailey is arguably the best player outside of international windows, the best player just looking at club form in this entire squad. Leon Bailey, if Jamaica want to find any bit of success without Mason Greenwood and without any other national call-ups, Leon Bailey needs to be a part of the team here. And I really hope he changed his mind. I really hope they came to some conclusion in this international window where he will show up as a Reggae Boy wearing this kit, playing against the likes of Cuba and, the other Nations League group members and whatnot. I really think he needs to be here. It's a good sign that he's been included. But like I said, it's happened before. I don't know how hopeful I am. I'm a little hopeful, but I'm still very nervous. I don't know. It remains to be seen if he's actually going to show up and report to this camp or not. And I know if he does, it's going to be a big deal. And if he doesn't, it's going to be a really big deal too. But he's very important in these games, especially if Jamaica, or when, I think Jamaica is going to qualify out of this group. And if you guys want a predictions video for this next stage of the Nations League, let me know in the comments down below. But when they move on past the group stage, and then they're playing the likes of Canada, Mexico, USA, and Panama, Leon Bailey, I think, really needs to be present here. And I think would give them a huge boost in their chances at winning this Nations League, qualifying for the Gold Cup, winning the Gold Cup, whatever. I really want him to be here. I really hope he's here. Being in the team sheet is a good sign, but we don't know. Maybe Steve McClaren's entrance as the new head coach maybe convinced him somehow. Maybe they talked. I'm not quite sure, but I really hope Steve has a good positive influence on not only him, but a lot of other players who are playing Kuwait with this team, including the likes of Omari Hutchinson, including any other dual national that they may be talking to. I hope Steve has that impact here, and it looks like he kind of is. I don't know. Another thing I want to note about this team too is that there's a lot of players who were injured over the course of the Copa America back in a couple months ago, including Amari Bell. I think Amari Bell is the main player that I really, really want to see, have some appearance of some sort, see how he plays with his team, because I think Amari Bell is the team's best left back. I really, really want him to be fit here. Same with Andre Blake. I think Jamaica's a very good team, and Jamali Waits, had a really good, at least first game against Mexico in the Copa America. Did okay the last two. That one goal against Ecuador, I'm not going to blame him for. We were at the game. I'm not going to blame him for. Could have done better. Whatever. But I do really think that Jamaica really almost needs Andre Blake. I mean, he's the team captain. He guides the team from the back. Andre Blake, I really think, should be here. I don't know the status of his injury. If he is hurt, please feel free to let me know in the comments down below. But I do hope he gets to make an appearance here. I love Andre Blake. I love what he brings to the team. Very, very solid Concacaf level goalkeeper. So him being here is hopefully a good sign that he might make an appearance or not. I also really want to see Kahim Dixon get a lot more opportunities. He did just make a move to Charlton Athletic in League One of the English Pyramid. I think this was like last week or so. He just made a move there. And I do think he is one of the future wingers of this team. I think it's really hard for him to make any sort of appearance, obviously, because you have Damari Gray and maybe Leon Bailey in front of you. But I think Kahim Dixon has really been deserving to get more game time as of late. I really wish he did get more game time in Copa America instead of Heimer using the two striker setup. Wasn't working. Heimer should have switched. I think Kahim Dixon deserves to start a little bit more. So I would like to see him start here. Maybe Damari on left, Kahim on right, if Leon Bailey chooses to not show up, or depending on your opponent. It's not going to be the toughest of games. At least it shouldn't be from a on paper perspective, but it is Steve McClaren's first games as the manager. Could prove to be a little bit tough. I'm not quite sure, but I do want Kahim Dixon to get at least some game time. If anything, start the game, bring Leon later, or Damari, or vice versa, whatnot. I do also really want to see Michael Antonio play, because if Mason Greenwood were to join Jamaica, and it looks like he's going to, if/when he joins, I think Michael Antonio's time as starting striker is kind of going to be not up, but he's getting there. So I really think he has to take every chance he gets, including this international window. I think Jamaica has to take every chance they can get with him. This might be one of the last times he's a real, true starting striker for the Reggae Boyz. If I'm them, I'm not starting Shamar Nicholson. He's good, don't get me wrong, and he's very good. He's very good for Jamaica. I just think as of late, he hasn't been the best, most consistent player. I personally would like to see Michael Antonio start here, give Shamar some game time, but I'm also really, really interested to see what happens with those two players when/if Mason Greenwood comes in. Another thing I want to note too is the midfield is, again, it's just weak. And that is Jamaica's biggest problem. A very good attack, arguably top 3, top 4 attack in CONCACAF, and a very good defense that's on the come up. I do think Jamaica has a very underrated defense with a lot of English and even Premier League experience, with Amari Bell, Ethan Pinnock being obviously the biggest name, Deshaun Bernard, who's been very, very solid as of late, Lembikisa, who's very, very young, but could grow to be this, really, really, really good player, not only for Jamaica, but for any club that he joins. I think defense is very solid, but the midfield is, again, just very lackluster. And I do think you have to give a lot more players opportunities here in these Nations League games, at least to start off the group, in comparison to Copa America, Copa America, I get it a little bit. You have to kind of start your best players as best you can because no other team is going to field a weaker team, really. So you have to start your best players. But here, I just really want Steve to figure out some way that this works. I don't know if that means Damian Lay at CDM or Joe Lottie at CDM or at center mid, or not even use that at all and use really just two attacking midfielders with a center defender who moves up into that DM spot. I'm not quite sure. Remains to be seen. I'm really, really interested in seeing what Steve does with these pivots or lack of pivots, I guess, and see what he kind of wants to create with this midfield, because the midfield obviously is very, very important. And I do think that in general, Concacaf have very good midfields. For the most part, at least relative to Jamaica, they are very, very solid midfields. So I think there needs to be some sort of clarification on how this team needs to play to the middle. Very interested to see. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a very heavy focus on the wings here because of that lack of midfield, like fullback to winger, or brief midfield ball appearance out wide to the winger. Remains to be seen. We'll see. If you guys want a preview, or not preview, a review or recap of those games of Jamaica International Window, let us know down below. Leave a like by doing so as well, because I really want to know. And if you guys want that, I'll absolutely do that video for you guys. I think that's really it for me to talk about here. If you guys have, like I said, have opinions on any of this, let us know in the comments down below. A lot of interesting moves here and a lot of interesting lack of moves. Like I said, it's a very consistent with what they've been doing recently. It's not a very risky call up by any means, which is fine. It's Steve's first call up. It's his first international window with the Reggae Boyz side. So I'm not surprised that he went safe here. I just do hope for the future, maybe a little bit more improvement in some capacity, especially if Mason Greenwood is able to make that switch, or any of the new nationals, or any kind of younger player that you guys feel could be deserving of a spot on this team. And if there is one, let us know in the comments down below. Otherwise, it's going to be it for me, guys. We're going to have a lot more Jamaican content and Concacaf content over the next couple of weeks because of the international window. So if you guys want any bit of content like that, make sure to subscribe down below and turn notifications on. And if you comment first, we will absolutely show our appreciation for you guys and let us know that we see you, because we read every single comment. So yeah, that's going to be it for me, guys. Hopefully we'll see you guys in future videos. Otherwise, yeah, take it easy, guys.